This morning, we're going to look at being strong and courageous. Earlier this week, I saw an article pop up that said things that we had that young people aren't going to recognize anymore. So I thought it'd be interesting to go through a few of these. All the older people know what this is, and the younger people. This is an 8-track player for an automobile. If you don't know 8-tracks, you're missing something special. You memorize the break in the song. It would switch tracks in the middle of a song, and you would memorize the song with the break in it. It was really wild. How about this one? That's a rotary stand and receiver phone. You'd have to pick up the earpiece and talk into the other one. This one may be a little harder. If you've ever been a fan of the library, you'll recognize this. This is a microfilm, or what we call a microfiche machine. I did some debating in high school. I spent an inordinate amount of time in front of one and kind of hoped to never have to do it again. Every time I got done with that, a headache. Anybody else? How about this one? If you're a fan of Blockbuster, VHS rewinder. All right, kids, this one's especially for you. Most of you may have never seen one of these. It's actually a hand crank for a window. Back then, back in our day, we had to roll it down both ways. Card catalog. Used to be in the library. You didn't have a computer where you could put your book in. You actually had to go find it. And it wasn't always where you thought it was going to be. There's a washing machine with a built-in wringer. Once you wash the clothes, you had to run it through the wringer at the top to get the water out before you would hang it on the line. Yeah. Throw the peas in. How about this one? 5-inch floppy. This is actually where the term floppy disk came from. They ended up giving it to the 3.5-inch, but it wasn't floppy. I always thought that was weird. They still called that a floppy disk, but this is where it actually came from. These were very, very fragile. How about this one? This is how we used to we didn't have our phones to keep all the names and numbers on. So on your desk, everybody had one of these. You'd pop a card out, write their name on it, put it wherever all the way around it had all the alphabet. And that's how you kept track of the names and numbers. Things that have gone the way of the dodo. But this morning, we're going to talk about being strong and courageous. We're going to go all the way back to Moses. Moses had led the Israelites for over 40 years. Now, his relationship with the Israelites wasn't always great, especially after coming out of Egypt, because Israelites had no idea what they were doing. They complained about no food, no shelter, no water. They just drove Moses crazy. Matter of fact, in Exodus 32, Moses has to talk God out of killing all the Israelites, because while he was giving Moses the law, they were down worshiping a golden calf. And God told Moses, he said, look, I'm going to do away with all of them, and you and I are going to start over. And Moses said, no, you can't do that. And God ended up forgiving them. And Moses did all kinds of miracles in front of the people. And yet it didn't always seem to really make a difference for very long. And they would complain about something else. And this went on continuously. And after they had wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, there was only 3 families left. The family of Moses, the family of Joshua, and the family of Caleb. All the other ones had gone away. And we'll talk about that a little more here in a minute. But by the time they got to the promised land the second time, They'd been to the edge of the promised land once. They didn't cross. We'll go through that in a minute. The second time, they were a different people, and Moses was loved and revered. He said to the people in Deuteronomy 31, 6 through 8, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or in dread of them, for the Lord your God is the one who is going with you. He will not desert you or abandon you." Then Moses called to Joshua and said to him in the sight of all Israel, "Be strong and courageous, for you will go with this people into the land which the Lord has sworn to their fathers to give them, and you will give it to them as an inheritance. And the Lord is the one who is going ahead of you. He will be with you. He will not desert you or abandon you. Do not fear and do not be dismayed. Be strong and courageous." 40 years before, they'd stood in the same place and did the opposite of both. They were terrified. They said, "We cannot take this land. People are too big, they're too powerful," except for two of the spies, Joshua and Caleb. All the others said, "No, we can't do it." And so God said, "That's okay." He sent them back into the wilderness. Unfortunately, there was a purpose to that, something that they needed to learn. When they first came out of Egypt, they were strong. The Egyptians had worked them hard. They were a strong people. There were many, many of them. But they had a slave mind. They expected to be told what to do. They expected to be told what to think. In areas outside of that, all they knew was fear. They didn't know anything else. And so when Moses took them away, they were afraid of everything. And they complained about it continuously. And they kept saying, "We just want to go back." As bad as things were, at least there I didn't have to think. I could just be. I could just do what I was told, and I'm happy doing that. The second time they reached the promised land, not only were they a strong people physically, now they've been in the wilderness. All those people who had the slave mindset had died. This was a new people. And this new people said, "We are going to do exactly what God tells us to do." And that's to be strong and courageous. But there was a catch. Somebody wasn't going with them. Deuteronomy 34, 5 through 8. "So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, in accordance with the word of the Lord. And he buried him in the valley of the land of Moab, opposite Beth Peor. But no one knows his burial place to this day. Although Moses was 120 years old when he died, his eyesight was not dim, nor had his vigor left him. So the sons of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab for 30 days, when the days of weeping and mourning for Moses came to an end." God doesn't allow Moses to go in. Now, he tells Moses, "I ask you to speak to the rock, you struck the rock." But it's a little bit deeper than that. The group that Moses led wasn't really there anymore. The group that was really focused on who Moses was had died out in the wilderness. This was a new people. And God thought, the new people needs new leadership. But it's interesting that they say Moses is 120 years old, but his eyes aren't weak and his body's still strong. And yet God takes him out and says, "Son, it's time to go." He dies in the presence of God and is buried by God. I don't know how much better we can get than that. Imagine the comfort there. And they picked Joshua, the son of Nun, to lead the people. There's some interesting things about Joshua, though. He was from the tribe of Ephraim. He was a slave in Egypt. He was special enough that he was chosen as one of 12 out of his tribe. Each tribe chose one person. His tribe of Ephraim chose him to be the spy that would go into the promised land. He's one of the few that said, hey, we can do this. This land's ours. But he was overruled. His name was actually Hoshea in Numbers 13. And Moses changed it to Joshua. He was Moses' personal aide for 40 years. The 40 days and nights that Moses spent on Mount Sinai, Joshua spent it on the slopes of Mount Sinai waiting for Moses. Joshua would guard the tent of meeting when Moses was not there. Joshua was 85 years old when he succeeded Moses. And that's according to Josephus, the Jewish historian. In Deuteronomy 31, he's chosen by God to succeed Moses. It tells us in Joshua 4 that the people revered and loved Joshua. Joshua is one of the few individuals in the Bible that nothing negative is spoken about. That is very unusual, because the Bible wants us to see it's not the person that's important. It's the God behind the person. So he shows us warts and all. But Joshua was all he appeared to be. God told Joshua in Joshua 1, 5 through 9, there we go. No one will be able to oppose you all the days of your life. Just as I have been with Moses, I will be with you. I will not desert you nor abandon you. Be strong and courageous, for you shall give this people possession of the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous. Be careful to do according to all the law which Moses, my servant, commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, so that you may achieve success wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will achieve success. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified nor dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Here's one of the things that makes Joshua unique in the Old Testament. In Hebrew, his name is Yehoshua. If you take his name in Hebrew and you translate it to Greek, it becomes Iesus. If you translate the Greek to English, it becomes Jesus. Yehoshua means Jehovah is salvation. Jesus means Jehovah is salvation. They needed someone in the Old Testament to lead them into the promised land. They picked Joshua. Joshua leads them through the water, just like Jesus does when he starts his ministry. But one of the things that God tells him, on top of be strong and courageous, is do not be afraid. That is the most used phrase in the entire Bible. It's used 365 times. Do not be afraid. Why does he tell us this? Because you can see the effect that fear had on the Israelites when they came out of Egypt. They were so wrapped in fear they couldn't do anything. And so God kept telling them over and over, be strong and courageous and do not be afraid. And by the time they got there the second time, with Joshua in the lead, and God's telling Joshua, hey, it's going to be okay. You take the people in there, and I'm behind you, and you're going to win. Now, God was going to be behind them the first time they were there, but they didn't believe him. Now, God's saying, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to walk right with you in there, and you are going to succeed. Just be strong and courageous. But here's the thing. They could be strong and courageous and sit on the other side of the Jordan River and nothing would get done. Being strong and courageous is not about just where your heart is. When he told them, you be strong and courageous, he means you be strong of heart and you be strong in your action. You be courageous in your heart and you get off your butt and be courageous in your life. That's the two options you have. You can sit here and do nothing and nothing will change. Or you can be strong and courageous and move. Don't sit around to wait and see if things are going to change. You want things to change, you get out and you change them. You don't wait. And I love what God tells him. He tells him first to be strong and courageous. Then he tells him a second time, I want you to be strong and very courageous. You double that courage. So that when you go out there, you have no fear in you because you know I am going to take care of you. You don't have to worry about it. I'm here. I got you. Just go and do what I ask you to do. But then God tells him something very interesting. He said, now there's three things I want you to remember very carefully. Number one, you keep the law. You hold that in your heart. You don't let it go. The second thing, you don't stray from it any direction. You don't go to the right or the left. You stay right in the middle. And you meditate on this every single day. You study it day and night. You dwell on it. You imprint it in your heart and you live it. This is how success is going to come. And then he says right at the end, and I love this, have I not commanded you? Did I not tell you? Just be strong and courageous. If you will do those things, I will take care of you. Because that is what he was there to do. Do the people listen, though? Now we're talking about the Israelites. It's not even like a 50-50 thing. It's like an 85-15 thing. And 85 says, nope, we're not going to listen. But at the end of Joshua chapter 1, verses 16 through 19, it says, the people answered Joshua, saying, all that you have commanded us, we will do. We are going to do it. And wherever you send us, we will go. Just as we obeyed Moses in all things, so we will obey you. Only may the Lord your God be with you as he was with Moses. Anyone who rebels against your command and does not obey your words in all that you command him shall be put to death. Only be strong and courageous. That became their mantra. That became what they were going to live by. Did it work? They conquered Canaan in 6 years. In Joshua chapter 4, they have a minor setback when a man stole some of the things from Jericho, and they kind of had to have a reset. They ended up dividing the land into 12 tribes, and Joshua ruled over them for 25 years. And he gave them a final message in Joshua 24:14 through 15. He said, now therefore fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and truth, and do away with the gods which your fathers served beyond the Euphrates River and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. But if it is disagreeable in your sight to serve the Lord, choose for yourselves today whom you will serve, whether the gods of your fathers, which your fathers served, which were beyond the Euphrates River, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you are living. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Joshua lived it, and he led the people with it. And because the people did what God told them to do, they succeeded. I don't know why it's such a hard lesson for us to learn. And often it's just because we want to do our thing. We want to live the way we want to live. And we don't always listen. But when Joshua gets near the end of his life, he said, I want you to do something for me. He said, every single day, I want you to get up and choose to serve God. Every morning when you wake up, you say, today I am going to serve God. And if you will make that choice every single day, your life is going to turn out to be a lot easier and a lot more peaceful. And so when things do go bad, which they will, you are able to handle them because you know God is there and he is holding you up. And we have lost our Moses. We're entering a new land without him. And our leader's not coming with us. We've got to decide what we're going to do. But like the people had Joshua, we have Jesus Christ. And he is ready and willing to lead us if we will promise to love and serve him and be strong and courageous with him. Because that's the only way we're going to make it. And so everyone here, we all need to choose to put Jesus first, to put God first. If we will do that, God's going to guide us through this. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. For a while, we're going to be struggling. But he loves us. And he's made a plan for us. And we don't have to be perfect. We just need to be present and participating. That's it. And that means that we ask for help. We offer help. We provide what's needed. We look out after each other. We look out after the church. We look out after our community. One of the things that Tommy was best at was being aware in the community. And look at how beneficial that has been. How many people knew him and loved him because of who he was and who shone out of him. That's what we have to do here. And so this morning, I want you to think, what is it that you can personally do to make this church what it needs to be? To make this church the body that God needs us to be. Our role's harder now. Tommy took a lot of load off of us. Now we've got to divide that up. And it's not going to be easy. But he's told us, be strong and courageous. And that means that we're not just going to sit here and be strong and courageous. We're going to get active and be strong and courageous. So if that's something that you need to do this morning, you have that time now. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace. Let's all stand and say.